we have another Soul TV video um, titled New Jeans Mama's Messy Court Injunction. So I heard that a lot of happened since the last video he uploaded. Um, Honey was in the National Assembly and made her case in front of the most important people that will decide whether she said the truth, and she said a few um, really crazy things as I've heard. So yeah, as the last Solar TV reaction slash commentary as well, this video going to be a two-part, um, and we will see that if this first part is going to be really messy, then the second part is going to accompanied by a little bit of adult juice. So yeah, because the last video was a three-part video, and it was a lot when it was over for me. So yep. So we're going to start the video. Link to the original video is going to be in the description. So let's go.
Go over how Mini Jin's court injunction against Hybe ended way messier than her hair ever could have been. It's a mess. It's a tangled weave. I don't know if there are cobwebs in there, but definitely cobwebs of misdirection, gnats, lice. Oh, it was messy in court for New Jeans Mama. You know, there were a lot of headlines that were all over the place because this whole injunction itself was all over the place because Mini Jin is doing a lot of misdirection. So let's just try to distill it down into what is actually the legal question. And I think this is sweet revenge or karma or just the way that the law is working, because back in April when she won the injunction to prevent Hybe's shareholders and Adore's shareholders from firing her, she was able to manipulate the technicalities of the law. Now it seems she is suffering and being put at a disadvantage by the very technicalities in the law that she thought that she was probably above. So what exactly happened last Friday, October 11th, Korea time? There was a hearing at the Seoul Central District Court to determine the validity of her latest injunction request. An injunction, that word injunct, basically means to stop or to prevent. Hybe, Adore, they're running their business, right? They are making decisions. What an injunction does is you get the force of the law to tell a company or anybody to stop that decision. So injunct basically means stop. So she was trying to injunct something, but the court just doesn't immediately be like, okay, let's injunct it or let's not injunct it. The actual filing of the injunction, they have to see, is this a valid claim even to consider right now? And that was what this hearing was doing, and is messy. It was messy because what Mini Jin was trying to injunct wasn't even up for injuncting. So this judge is the same judge that sided with her or sided with the law, however you want to look at it. His name is Kim Sang-hoon. I think we need to call out these judges. Put your name on your product. If you're making this ruling, we should really know how you're making them. And so this
True.
judge Kim Sang-hoon is the same one, and it looks like he's kind of turning towards Hybe's side because it's a little bit difficult to really go too far down a rabbit hole no matter how much grease is in there. So what's a little bit weird about this situation is that she's trying to injunct a meeting that's happening on October 17th, but they haven't decided whether to injunct it or not, and they're actually giving both sides until October 25th time to submit more arguments or evidence, receipts. So the reason why I think the judge has changed his tune a little bit is that this is how they actually also use just the technicality of the law to signal which side they're now siding with. Minijin is trying to injunct something that's coming up this Thursday, October 17th. But the judge also said that, well, before I make a decision on this, I'm going to give you guys more time to submit evidence and submit the receipts. But that's gonna be October 25th. He's gonna rule on something she's trying to injunct on the 17th, but the ruling for that is gonna probably come out in the end of October.
I would assume that the reason behind the prolonged hearing or decision making is the fact that a lot of he said, she said is going on in this case, and a quote unquote evidence that the both side can or could provide is maybe it could be not valid in the eyes of the court, probably. And the judge says that, okay, I am going to rule on the 17th, but at the 25 is going to be the end of a processing, which allows them to look through really, really well into the evidences that both sides can provide to the court. So they have to check if the evidences are standing in front of the jury is valid and truthful, and they actually happened. If they can probably put their hand on some footage, some CCTV, which is impossible because after a short amount of time, the CCTV footage is automatically deleted, and or probably Min Hee-jin has another card in her pocket, and maybe she recorded the CCTV footage or saved it before it was deleted. Who knows? But I can understand that the judge going to prolong a little bit longer this evidence processing thing because in the eyes of the media, this is a big deal. This is a big story, so she has to be really thorough, and make the good decision because she was the one who uh, ruled in favor to Min Hee-jin the last time, and this second ruling is going to be the proof that that the judge is not paid off in terms of this ruling and hearing and making decision. So yeah.
October or November, because he's saying that, oh, I'm going to make a speedy decision. So, October 17th is going to be an additional shareholder meeting. They call it an extraordinary shareholder meeting. That doesn't mean it's extra special, but I guess from your perspective, it could be. It just basically means an unplanned or non scheduled meeting because we have something we need to take care of right away. And on the agenda for that is going to be the renewal of Mini Jin's board seat. So Hybe has already said now it's becoming clearer how Hybe has been quietly but very strategically and smartly playing the legal game because they already saw that Mini Jin did a number with the legal game. So they're doing it extra good. So they are going to propose that, hey, Mini Jin, we're going to renew your seat on the board of directors. Aren't you happy about that? And she is trying to injunct, but injunct technically with the law is stopping. So does she want to stop Hybe from renewing her board?
Yeah, and this sounds really mm, counterintuitive in the side of many genes. Like the first injunction was also in order to stop Hype to make her the board of directors, members of the board of directors, and put her back in her CEO seat. Like basically, she wants to be out from the board of directors, but she wants the seat of the CEO of Adore, if I am understanding correctly. Like, so this second injunction that was played out a few days ago, it was in order to Minhijin getting to get a free out card from the board of directors. Like, okay, so Hype is thinking that in the end of the October the 25th is the day when the judge is going to end the processing of the evidences that the both side is gathered, and this not planned board meeting is going to be on November 27th. So that me or 17th. So they are going to find out whether if their tactics is worked in October, and they're going to make a decision in November. But I don't know, like there is a lot of time between the meetings. Like they have the court meeting and the board meeting, and this is, I don't know what positive thing is going to come out in the side of Hype if they waiting this long. Like they have to cut some ties with um in terms of Min Hee-jin is part of the board of directors. Like I can easily see that a few board member is also going to be kicked out or resigning from their position in favor to Min Hee-jin, because I think maybe a few member of the board is siding with Min Hee-jin, but that's just my guess. Or some investors, maybe, because she's still part of the board of directors, and I mean, yeah.
Seat. What she did wrong, essentially, is that she injuncted too late. because she's already been fired from her CEO position. She should have injuncted or tried to stop that back
Yes.
in August.
Yeah.
They already canceled her shareholder agreement. She should have tried to injunct that before it happened. So her weapon right now is just like a block. So it's like a shield. And it only is good against an action that Hybe is about to do, and she's gonna say, "Nope, I got a ruling from the judge saying that you can't do that." But they already done did it, and she didn't stop it or injunct it back in the summertime. She's a little bit too late, and
Yeah, so basically she has a bad team of lawyers. We can say that. Or she hired her lawyers a little bit late in perspective of the case. So I mean, Hybe has the upper hand, like in every side of this situation, because it is a corporation. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to be really, really interested in what they are going to hand over to the court in the 17th, which is going to be tomorrow. So, yeah.
this is why it's messy, because even the judges, the lawyers, everybody there just like, why are we here? Because there's nothing for you to injunct at this meeting that's going to be happening on Thursday. So you see like how technically she really has nothing to stand on here.
Yes.
However, she's making it messy and she's trying to have a bee in her bonnet so that she can do some fake tears. October 17th, the shareholders meeting is also, hey, is J-Hope's return from the military. And I think she's probably trying to steal his thunder, but it'll probably make him or her look a lot worse, because it looks like Hybe has much more of a celebratory, positive, and
Oh, I almost forgot that J-Hope is coming back tomorrow. I mean, my time tomorrow, as of this video's recording. But okay. So I can just imagine like Hybe's pittiness, and like you can obviously feel that they are happy that J-Hope is back, and they have to deal with this crybaby in the middle of their celebration. So I don't know. If I would be in the shoes of Hybe in this particular situation tomorrow, I would just drink myself to the ground. I'm going to be drunk AF, and I'm going to celebrate. And Many Jane, we're going to hear her, and we're going to see cry her eyes out, and we can't do too much. So, but but yeah, so tomorrow is going to be the court situation, and at the 25th is going to be the end of the handling the evidences by the court. And then November 17th is going. I have to check the dates. I'm sorry if I am repeating myself multiple times, but yeah. But when I am done with this part of this video, I'm going to go back in my free time and I'm going to check the dates, because the dates are important.
a place of strength to say on October 17th, hey, we renewed Mini Jin's board of directors seat and welcome home J-Hope. So she would just be looking like sour grapes and trying to create drama when there is none. However, did she not have a plan B? Of course she does. October 15th, 2 days before October the 17th shareholder meeting and J Hope's return, that's when Honey is scheduled to go to the National Assembly to testify about workplace abuse.
Okay, so this National Assembly hearing of Honey is already happened. It's the 16th as of right now, and I've heard that. But obviously, Solar TV is going to make a video about this case as well, of course. But I've heard that Honey's evidences or her experience at Hype, in her opinion, in her words, were really bad, and she said a few really degrading and probably false accusations against Bang Shi-hak. So that was bold. But honestly, I was not surprised when I heard that, because the New Jeans members, or New Jeans as a whole, they were really, really bold recently. Like, let's just take this video that it's on the screen. Like, I mean, they just digging a hole for themselves at this point. Like, come on. And heard that Honey was giving the quote unquote Lolita treatment, although I don't think that she's the youngest member of New Jeans, because I know that the youngest member as of right now is still a minor, but all of the members are grown-ups in legal terms. So, but Honey was there in front of the, I don't know, judges or the lawmakers or decision makers at this point, and they were a bunch of old men essentially, and they gave the hard eyes and this disturbing gestures towards Honey while she was making her case. So that's what I've heard. I didn't see videos or audio files, so that's just what I was picking up through YouTube and the algorithm that it's putting out to me. But I wanted to see this video before I am going through other things that are happened after the making of this video. So
Use. So you could see how strategically she timed this to try to get public opinion on her side 2 days before, like in an October surprise, and make it so that Hybe is the villain. So therefore, Hybe would feel a bit tough in a tough situation for the shareholder meeting, but I don't think that's gonna work. Now, I gave this a little bit of thought. I'm like,
it
how
didn't
can
work.
Honey go in there with a straight face? How can even the National Assembly accept this testimony to talk about workplace bullying and abuse with a straight face, no matter how much gravy has been poured into their coffers? I do think that there probably is some gravy swimming around. You can probably, test their shirt sleeves stained with some gravy. But even without the gravy, what I think is happening here is that Honey is Vietnamese by ethnicity, nationality, Australian. Those are two big trading partners for Korea, and especially Vietnam is where a lot of Korean conglomerates have set up manufacturing bases and they do a lot of business back and forth. Don't you think that there's some disgruntled Vietnamese people angry at their abusive Korean bosses? What this does is signal to the people in Vietnam who are angry at Korea to kind of put a lid on it because here, look at this success case of this young Vietnamese girl who is a K-pop star, and she has complaints about workplace bullying, but what? It's only about that nobody said hello to her in a proper way.
Okay, so I didn't know her ethnicity or her background, where she's coming from, but if we include this aspect of hers in the court hearing and how the general public is perceiving her outside of Korea, in Vietnam and Australia, I mean, I have to give Solar TV the props. Like, yeah, I don't think they are going to side with her, especially if she's just only saying that the only problem of hers in the workplace, and she considers this bullying of the workplace, that the other artists didn't say hi. So yeah, I don't. I've always thought that Honey was 100% Korean, but okay, I don't know why I thought that.
Way that's not even her culture that she is complaining about as part of workplace abuse because she feels ignored.
That's the
Oh,
other
Korea
thing.
must
Yeah,
be wonderful. Korea must be great if that counts as discrimination and workplace bullying against a Vietnamese person. I think the National Assembly is trying to play a game here because there's a lot of disgruntledness going on with labor violations, always, but in particular now with Southeast Asia because it's been such a, a a strong trading partner, but basically means that there's been a lot of interaction, a lot of work, and probably a lot of stuff that actually needs to be resolved. But it looks like maybe the National Assembly is trying to do a solid for some of these big companies and brush this kind of stuff under the rug by making it look like, oh, well, in Korea, they treat Vietnamese people so well that the only thing she has to complain about is a hello and a goodbye. All right, so what
exactly.
actually happened at the hearing? Mini Jin's side said that this was an unjustified firing. There was no takeover attempt. Hive has to honor the procure clause, or essentially a clause in their shareholder agreement that basically says, Hive, you have to go along with whatever I want to do at the board of directors meeting, which includes being hired as CEO whenever I want to be hired. And then Eyelet is copying us. That was the gist of Mini Jin's side. Hive had a
Honestly, I didn't thought that she's going to talk about that aspect. Like, Alit is copying New Jeans. I honestly thought that this sentence is it would not stand on a court hearing, and probably it didn't, but it just sounds funny to me.
lot to bring to the table because they had a lot of receipts and probably had a ton of things to say. So turned on the spigot and it was like a fire hose. So main thing with Hive is again they're saying like there's nothing to injunct here. So they're playing that smart and cool kind of like well, we don't even know what we're doing here because you're trying to stop us from doing something, but all we're trying to do is keep you on the board of directors. November 1st, your board membership as a director would have expired, but at this meeting that we're going to be having on October 17th, we're going to renew it. So what you
Okay, so I heard it wrong. Essentially, like in November 1st, it would be the board of directors seat of Min Hee-jin would expire on November 1st. And they are going to have a meeting tomorrow, the board of directors, which they are going to, there they're going to renew her seat. And in parallel of this board meeting is the hearing that is going to take place as well, essentially, if I am understanding correctly the situation. But as I said, I'm going to go back and check the dates.
You're trying to injunct. But of course, they didn't just leave it there. They're saying that there's, of course, no reason or validity to the injunction request, but they are replying and responding to Minijin's lawyer's points about the procure clause. Now, this procure clause, like I said, is essentially was an agreement in Minijin's shareholder agreement that said that Hybe must go along essentially with what she wants to do whenever she's in a board meeting. So because Hybe is 80% shareholder of Adore, they can always vote to say like no, no, no. And in theory,
Yes.
yes, but in her shareholder agreement, she kind of worked it in where basically they're saying that like, well, this was a perk of her employment, so that Hybe would basically agree as with what however she wants to run the company. It was probably one of these assurances when there was a lot of trust in her that hey, we're gonna let you have freedom to produce the way you want to, run the sub label the way you want to, and we'll make it in our agreement that we're gonna go along with your decisions. However, that is under a high trust environment, and she's arguing that no matter what, even if things go south, you have to honor that. Well, first of all, Heim is saying like, sorry, well, that shareholder agreement that contained the procure clause, that's canceled anyway. But
Oh, wow. Okay. This, it makes sense. It's clear as a sun right now for me. They are clever. Hype is playing their cards really, really well now. Okay. Okay. So as of right now, Minhee board of directors agreement is alive, but in November 1st, it's going to be like poof, it's gone. So they're saying they're going to put a new agreement in the game, and that agreement is not saying that she has special perks in the eyes of the other board of directors, and they don't have to accept her request to put her back in the position of CEO of Adore. I understand everything. And by the way, the time that this is going to play out is not that long. Like first I thought that they are going to have this board meeting on the 17th of November, but no, it's going to take place tomorrow. So everything is happening right now. And tomorrow going to be a board meeting, a hearing, and J-Hope is coming back eventually. Or this court thing with the jury, it's not tomorrow, but they're going to the 25th of October is still the date that the judge is set out to. That's the date they until the 27th 25th is going to be the validation of the evidences of both sides by the jury and the judge. So that's still alive, I think.
even if it were the case, the way that this hearing showed legally was that it's more of just a gentleman's agreement. It's nothing that can be enforced. You can't force Hybe to go along with a gentleman's agreement. So this agreement saying like, okay,
Exactly.
yeah, Mini Jin, as Hybe, we're gonna just go with, however you want to run it, and we'll put it in our agreement, But when push comes to shove, if Hybe says like, "Look, okay, we don't trust you anymore, and we can't go along with all of your decisions," and they basically showed in court that Hybe is right, that Hybe does not have to go along with anything she says.
And that is that easy, honestly. Like, if we don't count the drama, the the mistreatment of a fictional story, like the moody teenagers that are not ready to work to a major corporation as of right now because their heart can take it. Honestly, at this point, like, Hybe would still work with Minhee, but with their own terms. Like, they would dictate the tempo, and Minhee should be um she just have to obey, because if they going to renew her um agreement to be still in the board of directors, then she is going to be trapped in Hybe, and it would be a legal trap. Like, she can go to court with that type of agreement, and that new thing that they are going to do in November 1st. And she can't say that, okay, I'm going to sign it if you do that or that. And probably she doesn't need to sign it because Hybe is doing this, and they say that we are going to renew your stuff. So she doesn't have a saying in that because of the money that is on the agreement, probably, and the money that is behind New Jeans, which is provided by Hybe in the end of the day. So they can do too much. I mean, Minhee and her team can do too much about it. So Minhee also dig her own grave with with New Hybe, with wow. So with New Jeans. Wow. Okay. Um. I mean, there is no the bunnies, the New Jean fans, and the supporters of Minhee. Most of them are kids and doesn't know anything about the law system and how the court is working and how corporations are making their decisions and how they, for example, employ such workers as new Minhee. So they can send a lot of funeral things in front of Hybe and make threats and stuff like that, but most of them are going to be in illegal situations, because they don't know the law, and they are, I don't know how Hybe is going to take this type of attacks, if this is going to take a turn and they going to up, like they're going to send a lot of stuff in front of Hybe, like the Rise antics did with SM right now. Like, SM is bow down in front of the South Korean general public and said that, okay, we obey your, in order to ease the situation in the general public. But this is another story. But uh, I don't think that Hybe is going to go without saying anything in front of the general public if this is happening with Hybe in the future.
Why is this important and why does it make sense? And thank goodness the law seems to lean towards this. Let's say Minijin just decided and she still controlled the board and said like I wanna off. I wanna like, knock the knees out of all the other girl group members and Hybe, you have to go along with it. That kind of gentleman's agreement does not mean that Hybe has to follow a gentleman's agreement but break a real law. If she wanted to hire hitmen and pay for it with Adore funds, Hybe does not have to go along with it because they have to honor the agreement with
Of course.
her. More important than they have to actually follow actual laws.
What is this
And in
picture?
this case, following actual laws also includes protecting the shareholders' investments. And so this was a message, I think, from Hybe straight to the judge because not only did they make that argument, they also brought a ton of receipts. They went to Korea's legal elite community, academic community, and got all of these testimonies saying that, yes, this procure clause is not enforceable. You can't have a judge.
One thing you can say, Hybe is always coming with the facts, and they are coming with the elite of the law, making people like they are up to the game, and they were always up to the game since 2016, 17. Like they always protected BTS in front of the law, like in the jury, whether it's about copying other groups or faking numbers in sellings and stuff like that. Like you can say that Hybe is always going to come with the facts. That's for sure.
Judge tell Hybe to honor the procure clause first over everything else. There is no legal justification for it, and there is no legal precedent. No other judge did it. So that was a very smart move on Hybe because they know that they have to make sure that this judge better fall in line with the law no matter how
Yeah,
much
yeah.
gravy he may or may not have received, because there's also now stuff coming out saying that his network or relations or direct or indirect seems a little bit sus when it comes to favoring Minijin, so he's gonna have to walk it back because
Now, I thought the judge was a woman who the last time ruled in favor to Minhajin. In Minhajin. We're talking about a man right now? I'm confusion.
now there's a lot of eyes on this, but they're doing it in the right way. They're actually doing it in the legal way and giving the judge his homework. Like, they've done the work for the judge when he writes the briefs. He's basically saying like, okay, well, this academic thing, this academic analysis, blah 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 blah, and probably lifting and like pretending it like he actually did it. So Hybe has done the work for him to steer him in a direction where it's a legally sound ruling to reject Minijin's argument for like, y'all have to do what I have to say because I agreed with Hybe and they said that they would do whatever I had to say. That is only a gentleman's agreement. Not only that, Hybe also brought some receipts and said that, look, of course there was a takeover plot. Not only was it neatly organized by Minijin and her minions in a document called
We didn't
Project
even talking about
1945.
that
You
yet.
can't even get more neater and organized than that.
The most
But they
important thing.
also presented this evidence that we have seen through the Kakao Talk messages that her vice president in January 23rd, 2024, was meeting with asset managers, finance people to prepare an Adore IPO, like an initial public offering, or an opportunity for people to invest in Adore and then be able to take over the company. Minijin is still using the line that only had 20%, therefore a takeover is impossible. Whereas we've seen that if you get other investors and we have the evidence that you are looking at other investors and planning an investment product where then you would be able to get more than 20%, do 50% plus one, and then take over in a hostile takeover of a door. And again, the way that you have to stress this with the court is the implications that ruling in Minijin's favor would have on the overall Korean economy or even corporate law. If she gets away with this, the entire economic structure, like even in an honest way, would collapse Korea because Korea would be uninvestable. There's no
Yeah, but if we not counting the obvious things that the court system did and how the big corporations are treating their workers, especially in K-pop. Like, I mean, it was always sus. The South Korean lawmaking and the system, how they working on like I said one of the videos what I was putting on my channel like what South Korea really needs right now is a reboot, like a whole reboot. They should delete everything and download the new softwares again, like in the whole country, the whole nation is have to be going through a rebirth.
protection for your investments. It can be stolen and hijacked by rogue employees. So, yeah, we may think that, and there are a lot of cases where the law and society really favors the investor class, the capital class, basically rich people or owners too much. But on the other hand, we need to have laws that protect investments because everybody, no matter how rich or not rich you are, most likely if you're living in this society, you are going to run across a situation where you need to trust that the system is going to honor your ownership of something. You spend all your life and you pay off a house. You want to trust the system that the house will be yours. And
Yeah, but one of the law systems that are, as of right now, the most unreliable in this situation, in these types of situations, like if you paid out a house, then that is yours, is South Korea. Like, come on, and these things like something is obviously yours, like your salary or your mm, priority of your well-being, for example, in workplaces. Like that should be obvious. Like you can't hurt your coworker in work. Like you can't make them uncomfortable. This is why HR is so important, and a lot of places miss downplaying the importance of HR, and the HR workers are not taking their work seriously anymore. More places like big corporations are putting a heavy emphasis on the hiring of HR because that is a really important part of the job, and they are mostly behind the scenes in terms of importance and visibility of big corporations, but they are the clocks that are really help the big machine to work. In order to work, they are important part of the machinery. So, and yeah, Korea was always favoring the one that is has the more money or the bigger voice or the most authority. So I am not surprised, and we know this. Like, if a lot of K drama is portraying this type of behavior and this type of societal working, and they are not hiding it, even in their media consumption, like for example, like in K dramas and stuff like that. Some of them is going to be true what we are seeing in the screens. Like, every joke is based on a little bit of truth, and a lot of K dramas based on a whole truth. How South Korea is working and how the chaebols, which are the upper class, there are birthright is that they are going to be rich. Like, they born rich, and they were rich for generations before as well. So that's why I am said the one of my other videos that, and I am firmly believe that South Korea needs a rebirth as a country, as a nation.
And cannot just be stolen legally through strange maneuvers by somebody, then you really don't even trust what you're supposed to trust because you think that, oh, it's going to be manipulated. Minijin also leaked the entire shareholder agreement to Korea Economic Daily. That is a major newspaper media company, and they have TV as well. They also, I believe, are the Wall Street Journal partner. So, it's the conduit for Wall Street Journal content to get out into Korea. And they publish direct screenshots of copies of the shareholder agreement. It wasn't even just kind of bullet points. It was like she faxed or scanned the actual shareholder agreement and gave it to Korea Economic Daily. Hybe argued that that violated the confidentiality clause in the agreement and is legal grounds to
Probably.
cancel the shareholder agreement. So just that one thing alone is the legal basis for canceling the shareholder agreement. Remember how when Hybe said that they worked this into the court when they made the decision to cancel the shareholder agreement and also fire her from the CEO position, that they were going to not even wait to be challenged. They're going to prepare the way to make the legal system also give it a approved check mark on this. And that one thing essentially would violate the shareholder agreement. And so, like, why she complaining about spilled milk? Hybe also said Minijin damaged a door by making official public statements in the name of Adore, but when it was really her own personal positions.
I mean, this is the same thing as how she ruined New Jeans. Like, not in terms of musical career or popularity, but in the terms of ruining young girls' mental well-being from a really, really young age. Like, I would say it was grooming from pre-debut, and how she put thoughts into their minds and their parents' minds, because their parents is as of right now in a internet war, an online war with basically everyone. So, and they are protecting Min Hee-jin and the New Jeans members, family members. So, and they obviously don't know what they are doing online, to be honest, because they are working or uh, look like that they are hired by a company to do damage management in online platforms, but they are just digging themselves as well in a hole. So that's that.
To defend herself. Now, of course, legally, she and Adore are not one. no matter how much she wanted to believe that she was Adore and that there was no separating her and Adore. And do we really even have to mention, but we kind of have to because of her actions? She's not a member of New Jeans, no matter how many hats she wants to buy. Hybe also said she interfered, sabotaged, and adulterated the workplace bullying and sexual harassment investigation. She was supposed to be neutral. She even went out to the world and said she was so neutral, and she even castigated her VP, Lee Sang-ho. But it turns out, and we've already seen the evidence from this, she was protecting him. She was even helping him draft his statement to the company in the investigation process to help him get out.
The one thing that I am not hearing about that they are discussing in court of law enough is sexual harassment in the workplace. In this situation with Min Hee-jin, because I've heard from her first press conference that she gave about the sexual harassment, and here and there can be heard that they are talking about that aspect of this case. But I don't know if these sexual harassment accusations are based on truth. I am questioning that aspect of her story, because that's one of the things that she is accusing someone with, but she is not bringing up enough. Like, she always talking about the rude behavior of co-workers, and the copying thing, which is a really small things compared to the sexual harassment accusations, if you think about it. Like, she is putting the nonsense accusations in front of the spotlight instead of shedding the light on serious things and things that can be punished by law. Like, okay, that she thinks that the I mean, is in perspective of the corporation life and how corporation stuffs are managed by the system of the law. Copying and workplace behaviors are more important, but sexual harassment, if it happened, and if it happened in the workplace, it's more serious in the court. No, I would think that. But I don't want to say that she's lying about it, but as of right now, it's not really believable to me that it happened, or it was forced, or maybe it was verbal, not physical. Who knows? She doesn't clarify that, or at least I didn't heard about this aspect of this case enough to be 100% believable to me.
Of trouble. Even direct word for word copying of text she sent him via KakaoTalk text went into his official statement to the company. Not only that, Hybe reiterated that she tried to institutionalize bullying and abuse of power.
Okay, this is just nonsense, but I wanted to mention that as well, that she is protecting her VP, vice president of Adore, in messages, but in which light the VP should be protected? Like, he was the one who committed the sexual harassment against Min Hee-jin. Like, why she has to protect the VP? That's my question, because maybe he's going to explain it, but as of right now, just based on this video, I don't know why she needs to protect the VP.
She was asking the company HR team, like, can we punish false accusers? Can we punish this accuser for making a false accusation?
And you see, as I've said, HR is really, really vital part of a company or a working system, a work system. Like she is gone to HR to ask about working place laws. So, and if they are can do some things that are not in that are not legal. Simply put, simply put it in the eyes of the law. So yeah, HR can be a superhero or a villain in terms of workers' uh, lives and how they are perceiving life in workplaces.
Even though that it looks like there is a lot of merit and truth to this accuser's testimony and now lawsuit against the company, what that move does and signals is that she wants to shut up the accuser by threatening economic damage and harm and to prevent other whistleblowers. That is like 12,000 steps backwards in the direction of workplace progress, especially for Korea, which is always battling this image of being a developed country or not. And mainly from the Korean people themselves, they have this complex of not wanting to be seen as an undeveloped country. And so, what she is doing is actually besmirching the reputation of all the hardworking and honest people of Korea. The eyelet distraction, which has absolutely no legal validity. Remember, we're talking about whether this is even a valid injunction. There's no legal validity in this injunction, so it's a complete dog and pony show. Even through her messiness of trying to use this as a weapon in this injunction, I think she just shot herself. Now, the reason why we know it's eyelet is because Han Ji-eun, the reporter who had been on a lot of other articles that were pro Mini Jin, exposed to the public that it was Eyelet's manager. So Hype was also trying to make the point that, you know, we didn't reveal this. It was somebody who was writing from the media that has a history of being pro Mini Jin. Now, she previewed, of course, to the press that there was going to be a new shocking whistleblower claim and evidence submitted to the court. See, she doesn't care about the validity of whether this belongs on the menu in this particular meal at the court because it had nothing to do with it. But she, you know, she brought the potluck over because she wanted to have a headline that said that she is going to submit shocking new evidence from a whistleblower.
Okay, she got the headlines, but I mean, behind the headline is no evidence, no truth, no validity of what she is um, suggesting in the headline. So yeah, it's make a headline, but if you you get the clicks and the people going to turn around and say that she lied again. Wow. Okay, I'm officially unsubscribing to her, quote unquote. I'm not going to believe her. I'm not going to sit here and defend her and New Jeans and what they are saying is truth because she is a clown and she treating the court system as her circus. Like she coming here and saying copying is a sin. No, it's not. Sexual harassment is a sin and punished by law. So that's the thing that is so infuriating about her. She still care more about the numbers and not just in terms of money, but in terms of um, online engagement. And this is the part of her story where she would care about more about how many years she's going to be in Hybe because of this November 1st resetting of her agreement to be part of the board of directors, and she is going to be quote unquote jail in Hybe because she's not going to have any power, any decision making factors in that board of directors. um I mean, they are not going to give her a that type of voice and authority in that bubble that she was used to have, and she is going to be trapped in Hype, and she has to obey their word and work as they are saying that. And honestly, it would be a courtesy of Hype if they are saying that, okay, we are going to let you go from your position and you can have another job at another company. But after this situation, no company in South Korea is going to say that they're going to blindly um employ her. Like, she is going to have the court script about what happened in court, and everyone is aware of her situation because she did a lot of headlines, a lot of false headlines, a lot of attention-seeking headlines that had no validity. So she is shooting herself in the foot as of right now in terms of long time, a long time working situation where she needs to settle down in other companies with other work environment, and she's not going to find a place where she can be a little dictator somewhere else, and she's not going to have a power that she wants.
To the court. That was the whole purpose of this. She's using taxpayer dollars to help her media smear campaign. So even let's go for this shocking whistleblower. As far as I know, there was not even an affidavit. There was not even a testimony. It's just the conjecture that there was a whistleblower inside of Hybe that proved that Eilit's team requested NewJeans' branding deck. Now, what she is doing is using the half truth. The way that Eilit and Hybe responded to this immediately was saying, like, there is no validity to this claim whatsoever.
Oh, and by the way, I've seen the response of the eyelid team for these accusations. I read what they are put out, and uh, some of the words or sentences that they are used are a little bit counterintuitive, like they are working against themselves a little bit. And I've seen a lot of shady comments about this statement that they put out, but I am really interested what he's about to say about it.
And they even backed it up with the dates. So, July 21st, 2023 is when Eilit's branding deck and strategy and all that kind of stuff was finalized and shared within the Hybe building. So, it's very clear, and there's a lot of evidence that they were done. Like, they were saying, like, okay, this is our branding concept for Eilit, and that's July 2023. When the creative director of Eyelet got the NewJeans branding deck, it's being alleged, was August 28th, 2023. So more than 1 month after Eyelet's team was like, okay, here's our branding concept. More than a month after Eyelet's team got New Jeans branding deck probably emailed. Now, they didn't say this, but what I think happened, because this creative director, remember, was the one that, Instagrammed, storied a picture of her laced middle finger in an elegant lace glove. I think that counts as demure and mindful during Mini Jin's April press conference when she was dragging all of these other girl groups over.
And I was not aware that uh, apparently Min Hee-jin was accusing Eyelid, the creative director, and the Eyelid team of copying New Jeans for a particular comeback or a particular style or music video, like not as a whole uh, career or a whole aesthetic of the group. It's just a particular era of theirs that they are copying, because there was one uh, instance that he put out right now in the video, like the dates and stuff like that. So it was one time accusations, not a whole career changing and whole brand stealing thing. Right? Cool.
Over at Hybe. Now, what I think happened was that perhaps New Jeans or Mini Jin was the one copying Eyelet.
That,
And if I were
yeah,
the creative
according to the
director,
dates,
after
yes.
submitting all of my branding deck in July to everybody and then hearing that, no, she can't be copying, because, they probably hear tons of talk in that building. She probably wanted to get her hands on actual proof that New Jeans was gonna copy Eyelet or something. And so that's probably why she wanted to get a copy of it. What use does it have after they've already published their branding concept? So
Agree 100%. And we are going to stop the first half in here because this is already an hour and 11 minutes long. So I will see you in the next part. This is already long, so bye.